I'm going to show you how you can use data in your marketing to speak more clearly to your audience, to find the right people, and ultimately to grow your business. Data in marketing in the estate agency world is criminally underused. But when you look at big businesses, Coca-Cola, Nike, whoever it is, this is how they do their marketing. Now, this shouldn't just be the preserve of big businesses, because this kind of information is also available to all of us, from small businesses to major national corporations. And I'm going to show you how this could be used in your marketing efforts. And this goes for you whether you've got a dedicated marketing team in your business or whether you, as an agency owner, you are your marketing team. And actually, the smaller the business, the more essential this is to you, because there's a fantastic way that you can use this data with AI to really alleviate the workload whilst at the same time making your marketing more precise. So before we get into the nuts and bolts of exactly what that looks like and how to do it, I want to give you a bit of background information just to help you better understand the logic behind this. And so let's start off by understanding a little bit more about how large language models like ChatGPT and Google Gemini work. These are models that are pre-trained on billions of different parameters and billions of gigabytes of data, text, and various knowledge that's pulled in from different sources. So as a business owner or marketer, if you go to, say, ChatGPT and ask it to help you with your marketing, as I know a lot of people do, whether that's planning or creating actual resources for you, it can do that relatively effectively. However, what you're doing is relying on its pre-trained knowledge, and that knowledge is relevant to the customers who you actually serve. And as you can see here in this graphic, research suggests that relying on AI's generic knowledge can have an error rate of between 21 and 38%. And the smaller your business, the higher that error rate can be. If you're a national agency, well, it's probably going to absorb more relevant information to you. But if you're a smaller business that serves a very local market, then the chances are that your error rate is going to be higher, and your output as a result is going to be more generic and less relevant to the customers who you're actually wanting to reach and who you want your message to resonate with. Now, as you can see, if we move to a more precise, targeted approach, feeding into an AI platform geodemographic data about your precise customers, that means that you now have an accuracy rate of between 82 and 99%. And the logic for this is fairly obvious, I think. It's because you're going from the generic out-of-the-box ChatGPT, which knows about people, and it knows about people in the UK, and it even might know about people in your local area. But does it know about the people who actually walk into your office and call you and who you meet on appointments, your actual set of customers? Because in every local area, there are different local markets. In each town and city, there are dozens of different types of market. So does your ChatGPT know all about the precise customers who you want to reach through your messaging, through your marketing, and through your targeting? Because there's no point in speaking the wrong language to the wrong people. You want to speak the right language to the right people. And the way to do that through AI is to teach AI all about the people who you know. And so the way to do that is using customer data. And so we have this relationship with Experian. If you don't know Experian, you're probably living under a rock. And certainly if you're in lettings, you'll know Experian because your customer referencing credit checks probably go through Experian. They're one of the largest data companies in the UK, and they hold data on not just every single postcode in the UK, but every single household in the UK on an address level. You can put in your address, my address, and it will give you geodemographic data about you, who you are, what you look like, what your preferences are, what your preferred messages are, what your interests are, how to speak to you, how to reach you, how to communicate with you, and how to obtain your interest. So using this data, we can look up your addresses, your customers' addresses, or your preferred customers' addresses or postcodes, the patch that you want to move into or dominate. And through that, you can obtain all of this information that is specifically, not generic, but specifically about the customers that you want to speak to. And I just want to, for a moment, give you some context about the mind-boggling extent of this data that you can obtain through Experian. As you can see here, it's based on over 850 million source records. The reports themselves, the Experian Mosaic reports on your customers, contain over 950 different variables. And this is all across 1.7 million postcodes and 25 million households. So that's basically pretty much every single household in the whole of the UK. And what does this actually look like? Well, let me show you. So when you give us your addresses or your postcodes, this is what you get back. A load of information about the types of groups, the Experian groups that your customers fall into, and then loads and loads of different data sets about them. And to you and me, this might look like gobbledygook because there is so much information here. There is so much to know and understand and try and interpret about your customers. And this is where AI comes in. The fusion between this set of data about your specific customers and the technology and the capabilities of AI can do incredible time-saving, but also very effective things. I'm going to just demonstrate very quickly what I mean. So you should be able to now see my ChatGPT on your screen. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed in this data set, which comes in this report. And I'm going to drag and drop that report into my ChatGPT. That's now saving into ChatGPT. And I can now ask ChatGPT to perform pretty much any marketing task, right through from understanding your customers to then planning marketing campaigns and producing marketing particulars that have been tailored to this set of customers in terms of messaging, in terms of tone of voice, in terms of guidance about where to find these customers, which channels, where they spend their time, what channels they absorb information on. So let's begin with this sample data set of just understanding who our customers actually are. Now, for everyone who purchases this DNA report through us, you also get this how-to guide with it. Because it's one thing to have all of this data, it's another thing to know what to do with it. This how-to guide includes a whole library of AI prompts to talk you through the process. So I'm going to go to the AI prompt, which is just highlighted here, which is about getting to understand my customers. The actual marketing and planning and creation will come further down the line. But let's first of all better understand who our marketers are, who our market is. Because if we don't do that, then all of our marketing and all of our campaigns, all of our social media posts are based on assumptions. We think we know who our market is, what our customers look like, what they think, what they prefer to do. And if our assumptions are correct, then that's great. But if they're wrong, then we're wasting a whole bunch of time, a whole bunch of money and resources on the wrong messages that are not going to land with your audience. The backbone to the most effective marketing is knowing who your customers are. So let's do that. So as you can see, I've saved my report into ChatGPT, which has got all of that data within it. I'm going to paste in this prompt now. And when I submit that, ChatGPT is going to analyze the data and then give me a really informative but easy to understand description of who my customers actually are. And they're broken into these Experian groups that summarize very comprehensively and succinctly who your customers are. So in my example here, my strongest customer groups are suburban stability. These are settled, established homeowners in mid-range suburban houses. Prestige positions, affluent, mature households with strong pensions and assets. And what they call urban cohesion. Be a good band name, wouldn't it? Settled urban communities with strong local identity. Within those groups, the most overrepresented Subgroups of people are the bank of mum and dad, well-off parents financially supporting adult children, family ties, families with older children still at home, boomerang borders, adult children returning to the family home, and far-flung outposts, households in remote or semi-rural locations. In short, affluent, settled, family-oriented homeowners, often with grown-up kids still in the picture. What does that tell us about our market? Well, they are financially comfortable, property invested, owners not renters, family focused, multi-generational households are common, stability driven, and less urban young renter led than the UK average. This is not a young edgy city centre market, a city renter market even. It's a grown-up, established, family-centric audience that values reassurance, trust, expertise, practical outcomes, and long-term thinking. They're more likely to respond to credibility and clarity than hype and trend chasing. What this should change about our marketing priorities. Tone of voice, lean into calm confidence. Experience-led messaging. We've done this before reassurance. Practical benefits over flashy promises. Less disrupt the industry, more we know what works. Content themes. Double down on family and life stage messaging, long-term planning. Property is a lifestyle decision. Stability, legacy and security, and clear, useful advice. And avoid over-investing in youth-focused trends, rental-first narratives, and short-term hype. Channels and formats. This audience reads, watches, trusts familiar brands, and responds to clear, structured content. So prioritize email, thoughtful social posts, articles, case studies, explainer content, video that informs, not just entertains. And then targeting. Your growth will come from similar suburban, semi-rural areas, established homeowner regions, family-heavy postcodes, and not inner-city renter hubs. The second 20-second summary. Our strongest audience is affluent, settled homeowners, mostly family households with older kids still at home. They value stability, reassurance, and practical expertise, so our marketing should feel confident, trustworthy, and useful, not flashy or trend-led. We should focus more on family long-term planning and real-world outcomes, and less on youth or renter-focused messaging. Now, do you have as precise a vision and interpretation of your customer base as I've just read out there? Because if you don't, and if you don't have that evidence-based, not assumption-based clarity on your audience, then you're missing out on a brilliant way to make your marketing so much more effective. And this is just the first step. As I say, the first step is understanding your audience. We've got prompts, then we'll go on to now plan an 18-month marketing campaign, plan a 365-day posting calendar for your social media to create actual marketing particulars. But the power of data, I cannot stress the importance of it enough. Because if you're not using the data in your marketing, there is a huge possibility that you are wasting your time and you're wasting your money. So finally, how much do you think this costs? And I don't say that by way of a sales pitch. Let's be realistic, I kind of do. But at the start of this video, I mentioned that this kind of data-led marketing is traditionally the preserve of major corporations. Coca-Cola, Nike, Adidas, whoever, Lush, whoever it might be. This is how their marketing departments operate. And the reason for that is traditionally Experian would charge thousands of pounds per consumer report to these businesses. We charge £365 because of our relationship with Experian. £365 to increase the effectiveness of your marketing exponentially. So when I joined Unchained and I saw this, I actually couldn't believe it, because this was not an approach to marketing that I had seen before myself. In my agency days, I was assumption-based, and I trusted my intuition. And sometimes that worked, and sometimes that didn't. But understanding my market to this extent, that would have made me a hell of a lot more precise and effective in my marketing. If you'd like to know more about that, drop me a message.